$300 billion. That's how much money is being poured in India's infrastructure right now. To put that in perspective, that's the entire GDP of Pakistan or New Zealand or Finland. But here's what's wild. This isn't just about building more roads. India is simultaneously building the world's largest renewable energy park, opening its nuclear sector to private companies, and attracting tech giants like Google and Microsoft to invest $75 billion in AI data centers. This is happening right now. And if this works, it will fundamentally change what's possible for 1.4 billion people. So in this video, we are going beyond the headlines to see what is actually being built and why it matters. And here's how I would break it down. We will walk through the 4 mega projects that you need to watch out for in 2026, India's energy transformation plans, the data center investments and construction, and finally, the potential problems with the execution. Stick around till the end for the entire story, and I'll also give my take on if this infrastructure boom is the real deal or is just a series of big announcements. Let's dive in. Let's start with money. India's infrastructure budget for 2025-26 was around 11.21 lakh crores, also equates to around $130 billion, which represents 3.1% of India's GDP just being invested in infrastructure. And here's what makes this infrastructure push different from the previous ones: the coordination layer. So how do you actually coordinate hundreds of projects across dozens of ministries without creating a total chaos? That's where this comes in. The PM Gati Shakti. Think of PM Gati Shakti as the Google Maps, but for infrastructure planning across the entire country. Here's what it actually does. It's a single digital platform that integrates 1600 plus data layers, every existing highway, railway line, port, airport, power plant, and allows 44 central ministries and 36 states to see exactly what everyone else is planning. The results are already showing. The Ministry of Railway used Gati Shakti to plan almost 27,000 kilometers of new lines and completed around 449 project surveys in FY 2022 compared to just 57 in FY 2021. Now that we understand the system that is coordinating everything, let's take a look at what's actually being built on the ground. And trust me, some of these projects are mind-blowing. When it comes to infrastructure projects that will change how India functions, these are the 4 projects that you need to watch out for 2026 and beyond. First up is the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway. This expressway is around 80% complete at the time I'm shooting this video, and the main purpose of this expressway is to cut the travel time from Delhi to Mumbai from 24 hours to just 12 hours. This isn't just a faster drive. This expressway would also help in reducing the logistics cost between North and West India. Lower transport costs means cheaper products, better margins for businesses, and improved competitiveness. There are also a couple of unique features in this project. At every 100 km, there is a helipad and a fully equipped trauma center. There are 23 wildlife underpasses specifically designed for leopards and tigers near Sariska. This project recently got pushed out and the completion timeline is sometime in 2027 to 2028. Next up on the list is Navi Mumbai and the Noida airports. Mumbai and Delhi airports are completely choked, and with these 2 new airports, one in Navi Mumbai and one in Noida, that are opening up almost simultaneously, it's gonna drastically help when it comes to the flow of passengers. The Navi Mumbai International Airport has an initial capacity of 20 million passengers per year, and in the long run, the plan is to have around 60 million passengers. As for Noida International Airport, it has an initial capacity of 12 million passengers per year, and the ultimate vision is to have 5 runways and 300 million passengers by 2050. Next on the list is the Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train. This bullet train will cover 508 kilometers at the speed of 320 km per hour. That means you would reach from Mumbai to Ahmedabad in under 2 hours. At the time of shooting, they have completed around 330 km of viaduct, 406 km of pure work done, and 7 km undersea tunnel under the Thane Creek. As for timeline, the first operational run is going to be sometime in August of 2027 and a full corridor operation to be sometime in 2029. This isn't just about the train itself. This is about creating an economic mega region. When you commute between Mumbai, Surat and Ahmedabad in the same time as it would take to cross Mumbai in traffic via road, this just changes the game completely and makes it a massive economic hub. This is exactly what happened in Japan, and that is the same bet here. The last one on the list is world's largest renewable energy park at Khavda with 72,600 hectares, which is 5 times the size of Paris, 30 gigawatts capacity with 26 gigawatts as solar and 4 gigawatts as wind. The investment for this project is around 1,50,000 rupees, which also equates to 18 billion US dollars. And this project will help power 18 million homes in India. To put that in perspective, that is equivalent to powering the entire country of Sri Lanka. It also has a positive impact on the environment as it would help avoid 58 million tons of carbon dioxide annually, which is also equivalent to carbon sequestration of 2.7 billion trees. As for timelines, the entire project, that is 30 gigawatts, will be operational by December of 2026, and they will add 5 gigawatts every year. This project will prove that India can build renewable energy at such a big scale and also at a great pace. This project is also part of the 500 gigawatts non-fossil fuel target by 2030. But here's the problem with renewable energy. The sun doesn't always shine and the wind always doesn't blow, and you need a stable baseload power. Which brings us to the most significant policy change that barely made the headlines but could help unlock almost $200 billion worth of investment. With data centers, electric vehicles, and industrial growth, the power demand for India is expected to double by 2030. That means we need to install almost 300 plus gigawatts of new capacity. And here's a math problem. To go from 8 gigawatts to 100 gigawatts of nuclear, India needs almost $214 billion in investment. The government's 2026 budget allocation, almost 20,000 crore rupees. That equates to $2.4 billion. That's barely 1% of what's actually needed. So what do? In comes the Shanti Bill. In December 2025, India passed the Shanti Bill, the first major update in nuclear law in 63 years. So before, only governments could build nuclear plants. Strict unlimited liability rules. Foreign companies wouldn't touch India. But now, with passing of this bill, private companies can now own up to 49% of nuclear plants. Liability is capped at 3,000 crore rupees, which equates to almost $360 million. Small modular reactors explicitly are encouraged, and companies like Reliance, Tata, Adani, JSW have immediately expressed interest. What is an SMR and why do they matter? Traditional nuclear power plants take almost 10 years to build, and it also costs $10 to $20 billion. SMRs are small modular reactors, are factory built, modular, are built in a couple years, and also cost a fraction of traditional nuclear plants. They are perfect for powering industrial zones and data centers as they need consistent power. If you want to learn more about SMRs and how do they actually work, I have already created a video on it. I'll link it somewhere here. As for timelines, first private operational SMR is expected to be sometime in 2033. Speaking of data centers that need consistent power, let's talk about why the world's largest tech companies are betting billions of dollars in India. Here's a stat that explains everything. India produces almost 20% of the world's data, but it only holds 3% of global data center capacity. But that's about to change dramatically. In October 2025, Google announced a $15 billion investment in India, the largest in Google's history and the largest infrastructure investment in Asia. They selected Visakhapatnam as the AI hub to have gigawatt scale data center campus, new international subsea cable network, 24/7 renewable energy powered, and this project will be operational by 2027-2028. Microsoft followed with $20 billion, and Amazon has already committed to investing around $40 billion. Interestingly, Reliance is also getting into data centers, and they are building one in Jamnagar, which has a capacity of around 3 gigawatts. So why the rush? By 2030, India's data center capacity will grow from 1 gigawatts today to almost 8 gigawatts. That is an 8x increase in the last 6 years. And here's the cost advantage. Mumbai's data center cost index is around 0.6, which is significantly lower than Singapore, which is 1.25, Tokyo at 1.3, and London at 1. You get a cheaper land, lower power cost, and a massive pool of skilled workers, and that's why global tech giants are betting billions in India. Another interesting growth that we've seen is in the semiconductor industry. Gujarat is becoming India's chip capital. Tata PSMC fab in Dholera, which has around 91,000 crore investment. Micron's facility in Sanand, which is around 70% completed as of late 2025, and the commercial output is starting early 2026. India's Semiconductor Mission 2.0 has approved 10 major projects across 6 states with a cumulative investment of around 1.6 lakh crore rupees. Now, all of this sounds incredible on paper, but infrastructure mega projects are known to have a history of being great when it comes to presentation, but going terribly wrong when it comes to execution. So let's talk about some high-level problems that needs to be considered and solved. Starting with the land problem. Land acquisition still remains one of the biggest bottlenecks. The Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train that we talked about, 100% land acquired in Gujarat, but in Maharashtra, only 70%. The Noida airport, farmers have been protesting over compensation for years. The Delhi-Mumbai Expressway disrupted a few pastoral communities and now is affecting traditional grazing lands and water access. The next on the list is the environmental cost. A lot of these projects require you to cut down massive amount of trees. One of the prime examples is the Great Nicobar Transshipment Port project, which is strategically positioned near the Malacca Strait, and it's facing massive environmental backslash. Activists warn it threatens one of India's richest ecosystems. An estimated 1 million trees will be cut down, releasing 4.3 million tons of CO2. And the question arises, can India balance a strategic infrastructure with ecological sustainability? The last one on the list is the execution risk. And we've seen this repeated over and over on multiple mega projects in India. Timelines slip for years. The Delhi-Mumbai Expressway was supposed to be completed by 2026, and now it has been pushed to 2027 and late 2028. This slippage in time also has a major impact when it comes to budget allocated for each of these projects. These are some legitimate high-level issues that still needs to be addressed for a successful completion of the projects that I just mentioned. And I'm pretty sure we could get into far more granular issues that the communities have been facing, be it traffic, poor logistics, or poor facing of these projects. But here's the bottom line. India is attempting a fast-paced infrastructure makeover with a synchronized build-out of the physical, energy, and digital infrastructure at scale. And for its successful execution, we need to address these 5 major issues. First up is fixing the land acquisition process, not just offering more money, rather creating genuine rehabilitation packages, involving the communities early, and providing transparent compensation. Second, maintaining political consistency across election cycles. Infrastructure projects take 7 to 10 years to construct. India has elections every 5 years. If a new government comes in and deprioritizes any projects, billions get wasted. Third is managing the skilled labor shortage. Think about the amount of data center infrastructure, the semiconductor facilities, and all the industrial growth that we are going through, all happening at the same time, requires millions of skilled workers, which India honestly doesn't have enough of. So the government needs to come up with some kind of skill development practice and programs to help people get into these trades but also learn the craft. Fourth, grid modernization keeping pace. All the renewable energy and the data center construction means nothing if the grid cannot handle the power demand. Fifth, preventing cost overruns and executing on timeline commitments. The bottom line is, the vision is extraordinary, the momentum is real, and we will find out how the execution will be. And whether you're bullish or bearish on Indian infrastructure projects, you can't ignore what's happening right now. And in the next couple years, we will see how this master plan has panned out. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what other construction stories or breakdown you'd like to see. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.